My name is Joshua Brunfeld, and I will be presenting a creative scenario about a critical incident. Our topics of interest are to identify what specific points boss entered and left the prevention, preparedness, response, recovery, and mitigation stage. This includes crisis, scene management, and executive management. Determine whether boss met outcomes for each and design a plan for each outcome that boss failed and analyze what could have been done better. Faggio details 5 stages of critical incidents: pre-planning, action, crisis phase, scene management phase, executive management phase, recovery phase. That fits into 3 categories: prevention, preparedness, response stage, and recovery and mitigation. Boom! If you saw this, what would you do? The floor shakes, the people scream. Boss immediately goes outside and looks towards the source of the blast. It appears that it has come from O'Hare International Airport. Now, as far as the preparation goes, Boss is a squad captain. So he has the physical conditioning and has been trained to handle weapons and to deal with critical incidents in the most proficient manner. Boss enters the pre-planning stage when he became the squad captain because of the training and the type of things that he has to do in order to keep such certification. The crisis phase is the first 60 minutes of a critical incident. Mythcroft details the importance of stabilizing the scene. In the case of Boss and his SWAT team, after being briefed on the information, they realize that they are the first responders. The hostage negotiation and hostage rescue teams are en route, but at this time, Boss is the incident commander. And as you see by the picture, that is a type of formation where you have the front man with the shield and the rest of them have weapons when they're lining up to go into a certain type of situation. The 7 critical tasks. You must establish communication. You must identify the dangers. You must set inner perimeters. You must set outer perimeters. You must create a command post. You must activate additional staging areas. And you must identify additional resources needed. Now, as far as Boss goes, Boss did establish contact with dispatch. Boss did identify the airport as the danger area, also known as the hot zone. Boss did not establish an inner perimeter. He did not establish a command post. He did not establish an outer perimeter. Boss does identify that he does need additional resources, and he does request them. Boss does not stage a active staging area. Now, Bigamy in 2001 highlights the importance of identifying the kill zone. You have to establish where it's most dangerous. Then you establish an inner perimeter, which will be where first responders might be staged, such as a hazmat team. Then you would establish an outer perimeter where the wounded would likely be tended to. And last, you establish a command post just for organizational purposes. Boss did a great job of responding and creating stability on the scene. And if you look at the scenario, Boss is the first on the scene. He doesn't have any information, so Boss gets his team and he actually goes inside of the airport to not only gather intel, but to try to get a sense of what is going on. Now, Boss was not proactive in the management scene. Boss could have created a command post and he could have set inner and outer perimeters. Enters Hi-Fi terminal, things are crazy. It is just unorganized. It's frantic. Everybody's crying, people are dying, people are hurt, people are bleeding. Nobody really knows what's going on. The one thing that concerns me with Boss is that he didn't know the security risks of the rest of the airport when he entered. It could have been time for him to create a command post, or it could have been he could have taken time to create an outer perimeter. But I also understand why Boss may have not thought of those things, because we're judging and we're critiquing him, but in the heat of the moment, you have to make split-second decisions. As far as the scene management, after the second explosion, Boss and his team are ordered to the front where the first responders are. Boss reports to his hires the valuable information. He understands that there was a bomb attack and that there are an estimated 100 injured. He requests that the hazmat team is staged, and within 3 hours, a perimeter has been set up around O'Hara. The command post has been placed. The hazmat team is in the stage area, and things are beginning to clean up. Casualties are being moved, and the injured are being treated. Great job of scene management. He shared the information he gathered from intern Jabal Jones and was organized and unified with what he needed and what he reported. I do not think that the second attack could have been prevented. Hazmat did not arrive until 3 hours later. Also, I do not place this on Boss because in the scenario, the traffic and things that were going on weren't allowing the first responders to even get to the location. Many will point to the fact that the hazmat team operation commander informed Boss that the area was contaminated and that he had to push his operation 300 feet back, but I don't believe this is Boss' fault. I simply believe that hazmat is doing their job. Executive management stage. After the scene is pushed back 300 feet, there is an organized team approach for the safe and successful resolution of the event. The incident is finally resolved within 12 hours. Boss demobilizes and assessment procedures. He works with the other departments to review his response, and he checks his timeline to make sure that all the necessary information is presented. Finally, after 12 hours, Boss is good to go. He has his timestamps. He has his sworn statement. He has everything to go. He has now entered recovery and mitigation stage. In closing, I feel like Boss did a masterful job in the preparedness stage, the response stage, and the recovery and mitigation stage. I believe that Boss met outcomes for each stage according to the standards which Fagno in 2012 presented. Many will believe that Boss was not proactive in the management scene, but I would say that Boss maybe should have created a command post in the outer and inner perimeter. But based upon what I know in my military training, that you first have to identify what is going on, because there could have been a bomber in there, there could have been a hostage situation in there, there could have been a lot of things in there would have dictated and changed the command post. It would have changed everything. So the fact that Boss went in there, I think that was the best thing. And also, if the other first responders are not being able to make it there at first, then they could have set up an outer, set up an inner post, and they also could have set up a command post, because Boss was in constant communication with dispatch. These are more resources.